Yo, what's up, guys? Got another video right now. Took the day off yesterday. Slacker, sloth, you sluggard. With a little sleep, a little folding of the hands, your poverty will come upon you. Isn't that from the book of Proverbs? But yeah, because of that, we're going to do a couple, two chapters today, I believe so. And they kind of tie together. And that's Genesis 4 and 5. It's the story of Cain and Abel and the genealogy, I think, going from Adam up to Noah. So, and maybe we'll do a little special tomorrow since it's Sunday, it's the Lord's Day. We might do the entire flood story, which I'm always excited for that. But let's get into the Bible. I'm not feeling very inspired today, but like I said a couple videos ago, why not, when you're feeling uninspired, you read some content that is inspired. More like his inspired. All right, guys. Corny stuff. I'm sipping on my Spindrift. I will say that I'm getting into some hippie madness right now. I'm drinking some mushroom coffee, and I don't mean the illegal stuff, but I do mean the hippie stuff, the chaga or the lion's mane that makes the brain waves fire nice and dandy. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. It's a Saturday. I was doing some chores, was working out, went for a little run earlier. Not too much to report. Purpose of this video is the Bible. Let's get into it. Genesis 4 from the English Standard Version. Now Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, I've gotten a man with the help of the Lord. And supposedly, I've heard this in a couple of sermons before, that she was expecting him to be the Messiah. You know, she was expecting him to be the one who redeems them, who God speaks about in Genesis 5. Expecting Cain to be that. She wasn't correct. I've gotten a man with the help of the Lord. And again, she bore his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, and Cain a worker of the ground. In the course of time, Cain brought to the Lord an offering of the fruit of the ground, and Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock, and of the fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard. And it's interesting. I didn't understand this passage. I mean, I probably don't understand anything, but you know, I didn't. I thought it was kind of unfair for a long time. You know, God had regard for his sacrifice and not for Cain's, right? I was like, why that is, and I realized he says it. He says it right there. His Cain's portion was from vegetables, was from plants, and Abel's portion, his sacrifice, was from animals, specifically the fat portion. God prefers certain sacrifices. That's what it is. So, and the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. The Lord said to Cain, Why are you angry, and why is your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it. Cain spoke to Abel his brother, and when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, Where is Abel your brother? He said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. And now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it shall no longer yield to you its strength. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth. Cain said to the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, you have driven me today away from the ground, and from your face I shall be hidden. I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. Then the Lord said to him, Not so. If anyone kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord put a mark on Cain, lest any who found him should attack him. Then Cain went away from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Just to take a quick break, I mean, obviously, it's another one of these passages where just look up what the greats have said about this. I try to read my share of greats. I try to read listen to my share of sermons, and without, I'm over the course of the last couple of years, I've really been convinced that without getting into the original languages a little bit, it's very hard to understand what's going on in the scripture. Your stamp is just so powerful. The emotions of your presuppositions and your stamp, your take on the matter is so powerful. It's incredibly powerful. And even, look, learning the original languages, not that I know them, but I know some of the things that people say about them. I've seen it all charted out before. I haven't taken a class on any of the original languages. But even if you know them, how much more so how powerful is your filter? It's just unreal. So just really studying the Bible and asking good faith questions rather than gotcha questions. That's why the gotcha questions, dude, listen, I have them in my mind and I've asked them in the past, but more than anything, even when I wasn't a believer, I always just had real questions. I didn't have time for gotcha questions. If I already know the answer to the question, I'm not going to ask it. So I used to have real questions about, I mean, I still do, but the real questions I used to have about this one, like why, like I said earlier, why was his sacrifice preferable? What is it about blood? What is it about blood and blood sacrifice that God prefers? And I heard a sermon on this a couple weeks ago, maybe a month, about how he's pretty sure that Cain and Abel were like 120 during this story. Now, they weren't like little boys, and they would have been told by their parents, but also by the God who performed the first blood sacrifice to atone for sin, which one is more pleasant. And this had been going on for a time, you know. I don't think this was the first time that Cain had sacrificed plants to the Lord, but he was envious and bitter and killed his brother. It's really sad. I mean, that was just an offshoot from the first sin of trying to be as God. It's a really sad story. Let's keep reading. Cain knew his wife. It's like happy moments, sad moments. Let's keep going. All right. This is 4:17. Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch, and he built a city. He called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad, and Irad fathered Mehujael, and Mehujael fathered Methusael, and Methusael fathered Lamech. And Lamech took 2 wives. The name of the one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. Ada bore Jabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all those who play the lyre and pipe. Zillah also bore Tubal-Cain. He was the forger of all instruments of bronze and iron. The sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. You know, there's a fallacy that has been, or I don't know, it's an argument that has been levied against Scripture people for a while. The idea of Cain's wife. Who are the people that are going to kill Cain? You know, if he's the firstborn. I mean, I don't think it ever says that he was the firstborn. Now Adam knew Eve, his wife. She conceived and bore Cain. That doesn't say Adam knew Eve for the first time and bore Cain, his firstborn. Maybe it does mean that. I'm a retard. But way more things happened outside of the Bible. That's my point. But also, big shout out. I mean, look, man, I shouldn't be giving a big shout out to the line of Cain. But look, we're fleshly people, we're physical people, and it's cool to be good at stuff, right? These are the people that pioneered instruments of bronze and iron. What animal husbandry? Yeah, tents, livestock, and instruments. Jubal. Is it wrong to celebrate Jubal? Probably not, right? Because the thing is God invented music. There was music in heaven prior to Jubal, but he was the guy, I guess he was the first synthesizer dork. Anyway, picking up in 4:23. Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. I really don't know much about this passage right here. I've never heard a sermon or looked into the Lamech. Well, there's two Lamechs, right? There's this one from the line of Cain, and there's one from the line of Seth, which is the line of Noah, the father of Noah, right? I don't know why this is in the Bible, but it must be. It's the word of God. But Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. You wives of Lamech, listen to what I say. I've killed a man for wounding me, a young man for striking me. If Cain's revenge is sevenfold, then Lamech's is 77-fold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son, and called his name Seth. For she said, God has appointed for me another offspring instead of Abel, for Cain killed him. To Seth also a son was born, and he called his name Enosh. At that time, people began to call upon the name of the Lord. It's this tale of two family lines, right? I mean, one was into worldly things, like murder, like murder, animal husbandry, and the other line began to call upon the name of the Lord. I'm sure they, knew about agriculture too, but the more important thing about them, of course, was their relationship with God. Genesis 5. This is the book of the generations of Adam. When God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. Male and female he created them, and he blessed them and named them man when they were created. When Adam had lived 130 years, he fathered a son in his own likeness, after his image, and named him Seth. So, Seth obviously wasn't the firstborn, but it doesn't even bring up Cain or Abel. What year was that? I think that's part of the man. What was the sermon? I got to think about that. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it was a dynamite explanation of Cain, the timeline of Cain and Abel. Okay. When Adam had lived 130 years, he fathered a son in his own likeness, after his image, and named him Seth. The days of Adam after he fathered Seth were 800 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. When Seth had lived 105 years, he fathered Enosh. Seth lived after he fathered Enosh 807 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. When Enosh had lived 90 years, he fathered Kenan. Enosh lived after he fathered Kenan 815 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. When Kenan had lived 70 years, he fathered Mahalalel. Are there two Mahalalels as well? No, Methuselah. Okay, no. He fathered Mahalalel. Kenan lived after he fathered Mahalalel 840 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Kenan were 910 years, and he died. When Mahalalel had lived 65 years, he fathered Jared. Mahalalel lived after he fathered Jared 830 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. When Jared had lived 162 years, he fathered Enoch. Jared lived after he fathered Enoch 800 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Jared were 862 years, and he died. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he fathered Methuselah. Something about Methuselah, his name is funny. It's something like when I die, it'll go down. It'll happen when he dies. And then I believe on the day that Methuselah dies is the day that the flood happened. I think it'll happen when he dies. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he fathered Methuselah. Did I miss the part? Yeah, Adam had other sons and daughters, exactly. So yeah, there was a lot of people at this point. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he fathered Methuselah. Enoch walked with God after he fathered Methuselah 300 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus, all the days of Enoch were 365 years. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. When Methuselah had lived 187 years, he fathered Lamech. Methuselah lived after he fathered Lamech 782 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus, all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. When Lamech had lived 182 years, he fathered a son, and called his name Noah, saying, out of the ground, that the Lord has cursed this one, shall bring us relief from our work and from the painful toil of our hands. It's funny, I don't know, like some people's, doesn't Israel mean to wrestle with God? Jacob, I believe, means heal, means one word. And it's like, Noah, what is Noah? What does this one short word mean? It means, and I quote, out of the ground that the Lord has cursed, this one shall bring us relief from our work and from the painful toil of our hands, unquote. It's like, oh, I understand why you shortened it to Noah. Yeah. Lamech lived after he fathered Noah 595 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus, all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. After Noah was 500 years old, Noah fathered Shem, Ham, and Japheth. You know, I heard a cool talk the other day where it's like, yeah, we're learning about history. Cool. And if I'm learning about history of maybe a different continent or something from 10 years ago, yeah, that's awesome, I guess. It's cool if I'm trying to understand geopolitics or learn about other cultures, but this is our history. I mean, of course, it's more so God's history, but this is our history. I mean, we are sons of Japheth, probably. We are sons of Noah. We are sons of Adam. And I guess none of us are sons of Cain, but what if Noah's wives were from the Cain line? Doesn't that mean we're also sons of Cain? I don't know, but it's important to know where he came from, man. And this is what God, there's many other things, obviously, that happened that aren't in the Bible that have to do with our history and genealogy, but these are the ones that God thought should be in there. So it's a good lesson. All scripture is profitable. And these people were given a second chance during this one, and they mess up again in the next chapter, and they're given another chance and another chance and another chance, just like our own lives, you know. And finally, Christ gave us the ultimate chance. I don't want to say necessarily final chance, although I guess it is that when you think about it. But God came down in the flesh, died for us for the real chance, for the real redemption, the real forgiveness for sin. So I'm happy about that this day. Not much else other going on. I start school on Monday. There was a preliminary week this week through the politics class, but the big day on Monday, starting class, Iggy Madison, you know what I'm saying? So that's going to be a cool summer semester. Going to keep popping out these videos, hopefully every day. Missed yesterday. I'll make it up. I'll probably do the whole flood story tomorrow. The idea of doing this same project for 4 years, maybe that's just scaring me right now. But I'm going to keep sitting down. I like this position. I'm on my little Chinese, Japanese like prayer table right here. You can't see it. Got my Bible stand. Got a couple books, got my coffee. God's good, guys. So are you. I love you. This is cool. Say hi in the comment section. Love you.